It is, what is today? Today's Monday. I've been out of the game for a couple days. Well, it was the weekend, but out of the game mainly because I spent some time finding some anime with some voices, well, basically some dialogue that didn't have sound effects or music behind it. So I had to sort of search for. I'm sort of compiling some characters that I could use their Japanese language as placeholders. Obviously, we can't publish an anime that way. That would be a violation of all kinds of copyright and all the rest. But as far as a way to move the creative process forward, maybe before we actually have the exact dialogue, but we kind of know what we're going to do for the most part, that could be a useful strategy. So, what am I doing? I'm going to go ahead and do a couple things here to ostensibly improve the animatability of her in this sequence. And so what I'm going to do is I'm thinking about how to do this. I think what I'll do is I'm going to hit the D key here. So I'm creating a duplicate. Creating a duplicate of the graphic. And the reason I'm doing that is actually because I want to go in here and erase everything except her eyeballs. And that way I can put a hole in the level above it, and we'll see through it to the eyes, and that way her eyes can, dart and move a bit when she's speaking or whatever. So just to make it clear what I'm doing, I'm just going to select a whole bunch of stuff and delete it. And then what I'll do is go in and actually all I need literally is the eyeballs, and there's probably 100 ways to do this that would maybe be easier or make more sense, but I'm just gonna do what intuitively seemed like the quick and simple way to do it, which is erase everything except the eyeballs. And then by the way, the astute viewer might wonder if it wouldn't also be wise to do the same thing with the eyebrows and put them on a level above, and I'm kind of thinking I will do that. The other reason I wanted to do it this way actually too is that I wanted to play around with using the plastic tool to close her eyes. Just play around with some facial expression using the plastic tool, and in order to do that, you would have to animate just the flesh, around the eyes and not the eyeballs themselves. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. So I guess I'll ramble while I work, because this is somewhat simple but a little bit tedious work that I need to do here. I think going into 2019, I will say that every single time I have a problem, a technical problem or a creative problem that I'm trying to solve with OPENTOONZ, it never seems to let me down. It's really proven. The only thing I can really criticize with OPENTOONZ has really proven to be, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do what you can probably guess I'm doing here. I'm just going to go ahead and make a new eyeball. And so let's see, G key, and okay, sorry, those grow from the center, so I really need to take as much as possible the geometric center of the eye and Go like that. Okay, so now I should be able to just take this, copy it over. Yeah, it's going to have to be sized up a little bit. So I'm going to hit this. And yes, it is going to be, it's going to fuzz out a little bit. So now, how do I want to do this? Okay, this is a little bit kludgy, what I'm about to do. I'm going to actually hit the G key here. This will make more sense after I do it. I'm going to start here. There's, like I said, there's got to be 100 better ways to do what I'm doing. I'm literally making this up as I go along, but what I'm trying to do is just get the positioning correct. So basically, that'll work. So now I can erase this. I can actually erase all of this. As long as I know where the center is, I'm in good shape. And by the way, I think I'm going to go Control C, Control V, make another copy of it. Let's just see if this one, yeah, that one sort of bleeds over as well. So I'm just going to get that in a position where I will be able to get it lined up correctly. So, yeah. This doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It's going to be unusual to see. Oops. Hello. To see the entire eyeball would be kind of unusual. So I think that's okay. And let's take the P key. Use the old paint brushy. Okay, so now guess I'll do it the same way I did it before. Okay, that's not the G key. I clicked there and just basically created a crosshairs. Bam. Okay, and having done that, I should be able to just get rid of this stuff that's bleeding. So like I said, yeah, I mean, I probably didn't need to try to preserve as much of this as I did, but okay, now that I've done that, once I have the ability to see through to these eyes, I may in fact find out that I lined them up wrong, but then it'll be easy to just select one or the other and adjust them. Not a big deal. So then here, I guess we probably should go ahead and put the shading in as well. It's pretty straightforward, so. So let's go here. We'll just get rid of that. Oh, I see what I was doing. I was working with the drawing, not the X sheet. Okay, so here I'm using the P key. What did we have here? I want to look at this. That seems like that's more transparent. I think I might have the wrong color. Let me see. Let's hit the K key. Sample that. Okay, that's color 2. Yeah, that is the correct color. Let's just do it like that. I think that'll work. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. The nice things about OpenToonZ is you can paint areas without painting the lines. I don't have to worry about crossing the lines. Okay, and let's just double check. Yeah, there's this third layer too. What the heck is this color? K key. Okay. I better save early, save often, because right here, why am I getting a Am I having a stupid attack here? Why am I unable to do anything? Current tool can't be used on a mesh deformed level. Oh, that's right. So you have to go to the drawings. So there's the reason. Okay, okay, my bad. My stupid attack. I should have known better. Okay, that's fine. So that makes it easy, actually. I can just refill that. Touch that up. So I should have known better. Obviously, I would have put the shadows in a different layer. So anyway, going into 2019, the reason I was talking about OPENTOONZ being, not letting me down and all that sort of thing is I really want to get away from just sort of sorry, I can't talk and draw at the same time apparently. I want to get away from necessarily broadcasting this whole process. I'm finding more and more lately I'm having tasks and I don't really want to run the OBS, the streaming and recording software, because I'm kind of in a hurry and I know I'm not working out problems like I have been so much. I'm just pretty focused and just wanting to get things done, kind of thing. So let's do this as just areas. That way we're not, that way we're not having to fight with whether we're going to erase the lines accidentally. Okay, so there's clearly a little problem there. I've thought about, because a couple of you guys have commented about the videos I've done that are like I just did the one on character design a couple days ago. And I do like doing stuff like that, and it's nice to take a break from necessarily working on this anime, because it's not really the only thing I want to do, is just this one property, if you will. Okay. Okay, so there you can see the obvious problem, and so we're just gonna oops, I didn't mean to do that. I guess I gotta grab the header. I'm gonna fix it in the obvious way. And I guess you gotta draw with the B key first. Okay. And then I'm gonna switch to the P key to just give the whites of her eyes some. Okay, so clearly the problem we're going to have here is that if we animate her eyeballs, the shadows and reflections are not going to travel with her, and that is definitely a problem. And that is the problem you sort of introduce when you are going to animate things with translation animation, as opposed to literally drawing new frames every single time something changes. They both have their advantages. On this project, I've pretty much leaned away from doing a lot of rigging. And what I'm doing here is clearly pretty much amounts to rigging. I think that let me see here. I'm actually a little confused on where that little anomaly right there, where that is coming from. Did I? Oh, I see. I'm a silly guy. I must have had a rogue line sneak in there right at the beginning. So okay, so that's solved. Anyway, because I think this process of just like solving problems in a very public way maybe has run its course. Now, if you guys really object to that, go ahead and post a comment. But I feel like it's kind of run its course. I'm thinking that it's time to split this into kind of two things. One would be more concise videos that, without a lot of meandering, that document the process. And then on the other hand, maybe videos that are more exploratory, like the character design videos, and maybe even instructional. I mean, I've thought about creating an animation school channel, and just have more focused and more useful content. And I don't think there's any right answer. Okay, so that's her mouth. I'm going to go ahead and label that. I don't think there's any right answer. It's just a matter of preference in terms of how you want to spend your time, and this sort of thing. Okay, so I think the simplest solution here, honestly, is going to be to just go, let's just take these out. Let's take all this out, all the shading that relates to the eyes. Okay, and I think this would be, actually, let's do this. Let's erase that. And then I think, okay, so that's white. What is, oh, that's the dark one. Okay. So, yes, that's what we want. So we want this to be, let me see. 61, 105. I'm going to just label them that way. 61, call this 105. Just indicating the alpha levels on those channels. 105 is a bigger number, so that means it's darker. Okay, so I should be able to take this, kind of fix that, although I believe that should be removed. And then we'll take this stuff out, because I'm gonna simply have to put the eye shadowing on a different level. It's just the way it's gonna have to be. Okay, so and doing that introduce new problems, which that's kind of instructive. What do we have there? Right there we have a I think I'm going to crank up some eraser here and see what happens. Okay, I have an added complication here in that this entire construction does have the plastic tool on it. So that means I can't just edit freely in the X sheet. And that's really kind of a stupid attack on my part, but it's, for this little sequence, I'm sort of committed to it. So I'm thinking the labor associated with adapting to that is probably less than the labor required to completely redo it in a different way. So that looks like it did clean it up. Although, as you can see, I think that maybe the eyebrows should be on another level above. So, and this is the problem with a rigging-based approach, is it always winds up being more complicated than you expected at first. I was thinking, so what the heck is that? There must be a spot here because it's white. See, this is a good example of what I'm talking about. if I could erase in the X sheet, uh, it would be easy to see what's going on. Because I can't erase in the X sheet without disconnecting the plastic tool, which I could do, then it's hard to tell what is erased versus what is white. See that right there? Let me see if we kill that. Oh, I see. Oh, brother. So, you know, see what I mean? It's actually in the shadow layer. So right here, I'm totally spitballing. I'm gambling here. I'm assuming I'm probably going to get it, and I did. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty dumb. I know. I don't post a comment. Boy, that was really dumb, Dave, because I know it's dumb. However, having done that, I now have this ability. And the thing I said about it being more complicated than you expect kind of shows up here in the sense that you really actually want these to be manipulated independently. Because when you go to the extremes, like over here or whatever, they're not quite where they need to be. Not quite. But I think, actually, I might be able to compensate for that. I'm going to try. I'm going to take the S key and just take this guy and move it over just a little bit. I don't think I need to nitpick it. So in other words, when this eye looks like it's looking straight at you, does this one also look like it's looking straight at you? I think it does, actually. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so I may change my mind and split those apart later. How would I do that? I would hit the D key here, duplicate this, and in this drawing, I would erase this eye. And in this drawing, I keep telling you guys, dyslexia, man. I click this and then click back and literally don't remember which one needs to be erased. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so now I've done it. I've committed to this. So therefore, I might as well hit the insert key. And it looks like this one, well, of course, it's got to be that drawing. So therefore, this one would go here. Now they can be moved independently. This is her left eye, even though we see it on the right. And this is her right eye. Okay, and then you just pop open the schematic. It's pretty brain dead easy here. And then what we'll do is we'll just take the since the left eye column is on the left, we'll make that the master, we'll make that the controller, so we'll just take the right eye and plug it in there. And so now when we and by the way, that suggests that we really want to delete that. Okay, so now that means when we move them like this, we're in good shape, and at any point in time we can always move the right eye independently. So that's kind of cool. You know, the problem with rigging like this, the main issue with it for me is that you don't get much leverage. So, I mean, how many times in the show am I going to be able to come back to this exact rig and reuse it? You know, it's not like a 3D rig where once you build it, you can twist it in all different directions, and you know, you really only have to create the rig once. So then the question becomes, is it worth it? You know, and you know, I don't know. in a perfect world, what we'd probably do is take these and we'd make it a separate sub X sheet and then add the shading and stuff like that. So, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna grab these two colors right here. I'm gonna grab these shadow colors. Okay, and then I'm gonna insert another level here. Okay, and by the way, I need to take most of these levels and connect them to the plastic tool as well. But anyway, so there's, we're going to call this eyeshadows. Eyeshadows. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste these two colors in here so that, and by the way, let me go to the schematic while I'm thinking about it. And here's the eyeshadows, and let's also connect the eyeshadows to the left eye. So now, of course, I could daisy chain it. I could connect the shadows to the right eye, but usually that tends to start making things more complicated than they need to be, and it can get confusing. So for that reason, I'm going to leave it like that. And then here, let's just take the paintbrush. And the cool thing is, we don't have to be too super careful because we've got her skin masking it, you know, her head. And so now we have the ability to put in some, you know, pretty nice shadowing situation, as well as, I would say, Control C, Control V. Now this is a little riskier because if the eyes, you see what I just did is I just broke, well actually I did it with the shadows as well. No, I didn't. Never mind. Forget that. Okay. I just introduced a problem, a rigging problem. Here's why. Because we actually don't want those shadows to move, do we? Right? So that's a rigging error. In point of fact, what we should do is the following. Number one, let's see if we can just do undo to get rid of the reflections. Okay, we got rid of the reflections, and now what we want to do is take the eye shadows and just connect them back to the table. Is that what we want to do? Okay, so that would be up there, and then, and again, this is the challenge with rigging, is now I have to think about, well, what should this really be married to? This is, we'll call this Akari because it's the main part of her body. So there's Akari. So honestly, they really should be connected there, so that they're part of her head, and by virtue of that, they also are feeding into the plastic tool. Okay, so now the eyes themselves need to have a layer of shadowing. Oops, my bad. So I'm gonna hit the B key and create a new level. Oh, come on. Thank you. Okay, so eyeball shadow, and I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna make this absurdly long, which is gonna be about useless, but I think in the schematic, yeah, okay. So this needs to be parented to the left eye, so that when the eye moves, okay, so I should be able to paste. Okay, alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just put the alpha on this one down a little further, and then we will go ahead and paint some shadow on top of the eye, like so, and of course it's sort of subtractively combining with the shadows on the other layer as well. So, and then I'm just going to do that and do that. Okay, now I should be able to grab her left eye and at least be able to get some expression in there. So, okay, not bad, not bad. And I'm going to grab this and make this even smaller. Hey man, what's going on? Why does it grab color 1? Oh, my bad. My bad. It's just absolutely essential that you're on the correct level. Man, get careless about that and it'll get you every time. So, yeah, I'm just wanting to add a little bit of subtle. Boom. Boom. Ah, come on, that's not what I wanted. Okay. And I think that last dot is too much. Looks a little unrealistic. Now, A key. Okay. So the one eye reflection, frankly, is in the wrong spot. I'm kind of regretting that at this point, but I did what I did, so okay, stop, Control Z, stop. Why? This palette, okay, I guess it is a correct palette, but I really want to be on that level. So, you know, this is what happens is you wind up with lots and lots of levels, and it's just hard to keep track, you know, of what you're doing. So, okay, that's really not quite what I wanted to do. Okay, so now what we're seeing is the utter and complete pain in the rump aurelius that occurs when you frankly, when you make one mistake. You make one mistake, and now trying to turn around and compensate for that mistake is winds up, you know, it's the 80-20 rule. You need to spend 80% of your time messing around with the one little boo-boo. So it's just something that you have to deal with. So this, okay, that doesn't work. Call that a mistake as well. And I believe this was at 10 before. Click 10. So I just have to, boom, get it in the right spot. That's not the right spot. It's close. That's too big. Okay, got it. Okay. File, save all. Okay, so now we've got our eyes animatable, and it's been 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and quit here, and I'm sure there will be more later.